Hello, thank you for listening to A Glimpse of the Kingdom. I am David Pendergrass. I want to talk for a while about anxiety. I talk about anxiety because anxiety disorders are the number one disorders in the U.S. The number one disorder. Now, the second reason I talk about it is because, which the first one implies it, and that is it is so very common for people to struggle with anxiety. The third thing is, in my counseling with people, I've encountered this as a very common problem, and the other reason I'm doing it is because I myself have struggled with anxiety throughout the years for various reasons. Let me say at the beginning that this is not a comprehensive study. There are an enormous amount of books, lectures, classes, all kinds of things you can do to learn more, but I think this would be helpful to have an overview. So let me start by this. So I'm going to call this study Anxiety, Symptoms, Causes, and Relief. Number one, anxiety is all about survival. It's all about survival, avoiding danger, harm, or threats. That's what anxiety is all about. I hope you will let this sink in because that's exactly what it's about. Anxiety is about surviving. Now pause for, let me lose you here for a second. Think about this because this is key to understanding what anxiety actually is. Our brain is designed to survive automatically, like our heart beating or breathing. We have automatic things. Your brain right now, as you're listening to this, is doing things for you to survive that you, as a rational soul, you're not deciding to do. It's causing your brain to keep pumping. It's causing all kinds of things to continue to happen without your knowledge, frankly. And in fact, if you think about it for a second, if you try to breathe, you try to make yourself breathe, don't you notice how you mess that up? I mean, try to go in and out for more than 30 seconds. You're going to be gasping for air or something. It's like you mess it up. The brain's like, let me handle this. You can't even breathe right. Let me do this. It tells the heart to beat, it tells the blood to pump, and on and on. So the brain's doing all kinds of things. It's supposed to, because the brain's designed to survive. Now, our senses are meant for survival as well. I mean, the senses tell the brain whether or not we're in danger. So let's think about that for a second, because this relates to anxiety. Our senses are meant for survival, like smelling. We smell things to decide whether or not it's good to eat. It's a primal thing, that whether it's good to eat or sour. Just yesterday, my daughter came to me, and I was on the phone, and she opened up a gallon of milk, and she put the milk near my nose. She knew, smell this. Is this okay? Can I drink this milk? And I smelled it and said, yes, there you go. Now, that sense of smell saved my daughter's life from vomiting. So she smelled well. The milk smelled well. She smelled well, too. But smelling's for survival. But notice how you have what they call going nose blind. When your brain decides that you're not in danger, you don't smell that anymore. That's why you can smell perfume or cologne, and, well, that smells good. But in 5 or 10 minutes, you won't even smell it anymore. The aroma is still there in the air. Your brain is no longer registering it because the brain has decided you're not in danger. You can get used to things. People can walk to someone's house and go, oh my goodness, it smells like dogs or cats in here. Why do you not smell that? And they go, no, I don't smell it at all. Well, it's not because their olfactory, their nose is broken. It's not because their nose is broken. They're just used to it because it's meant for survival. Hearing is the same way. We hear to tell the brain that whether or not we hear a sound that's scary. And this is very important. You can notice the same thing, things that produce anxiety, such as hearing a siren. Studies demonstrate this, that you can have someone's rapt attention, tell the best story they've ever heard in their whole life, and you can be lost on the person's narrative and words. And then they hear an ambulance go by. No matter what you are doing, everything just happens, stops. It comes to a screeching halt because you heard a sound that your brain associates with danger that produces anxiety. So smelling, hearing, seeing, of course, is the same thing. Seeing helps you feel scared or safe. And, of course, that's why our eyeballs, and you might say our eyes, are attracted to motion. That's why when you go to a busy mall or you go to the beach and people walk by, not just because some of you are nosy, like I know some people in my family are. It's not just because you're nosy. Your brain is always on the lookout for danger. I have 2 dogs and 3 cats, and they're always the same thing. They're always looking for danger. Their eyes are always looking left to right, looking for danger if they hear something particularly. And so one way to test this is, go to a crowded place. Maybe it's church, maybe it's the mall, maybe it's a whatever restaurant, and do not look at anybody. Don't look at anything. And watch what's going to happen and pay attention. You're going to get anxious. You will get anxious because all the motion, you're not looking at it. Your brain's saying, whoa, 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 whoa. Look at all these things going around here. You're not looking. So again, so we have smelling is for survival, hearing is for survival, seeing is for survival, feeling itself, feeling perceptions are for survival. Pain is good. When people have the nerve disorders where they do not sense physical pain, it's very bad. When when they have this disorder, babies are known, unfortunately, they will bite their own tongue, and they can bite their own tongue off. They don't know the difference. They don't feel it at all. It's a very sad state to be in. We want nerve endings, and that tells us whether or not we're applying too much pressure to something, or whether we hit our thumb, whether we hail a hammer a nail. So feelings for survival, of course, then tasting. Tasting, of course, when you lose the capacity to taste, that can be a little dangerous thing too. Like if you taste sour milk, if you can't tell the difference, but it's bad for you. So I say this because it means our brain has a defense mechanism. Our brain has a radar going boop, boop, boop. And the radar is our accumulation of senses: smelling, hearing, seeing, feeling, and tasting. So we have a danger radar that is always on automatically. It's always on automatically at the subconscious level. Subconscious means you're not thinking about it. You're not deciding about it. Right now, if you're still listening to me and you're listening, unless you're tuning me out on purpose, you're hearing what I'm saying. And right now you might be looking around the room, looking out in the car if you're driving, or maybe you're closing your eyes. The point is, if you're looking around the room right now, if something's moving, I bet your eyeballs are looking at it very quickly. If traffic goes by, it's all the time, every conscious second. So when you're sleeping, it doesn't happen the same. Though hearing and all these senses you can awake quickly if you smell fire. The brain's still on. It's just you're more sensitive to it when you're conscious. But this is key. This is ground level. You have to get this to understand what anxiety is, because it all relates to this. You're trying to survive. So when our senses find something favorable, our brain releases feel-good chemicals. We'll call them feel-good chemicals, like dopamine, serotonin, particularly dopamine and others. They feel good. It feels, woo, that's good. Now, a little footnote, when we get committed to these feel-good chemicals, that's how you would develop an addiction, because it feels good. It feels good. It feels happy. It feels adrenaline can feel, endorphins can feel happy, feel good. I feel good when I eat the McDonald's, or I eat the donuts, and the sugar comes in my system and it turns into dopamine. The brain says, that tastes good, and it releases these chemicals that says, that feels good. Well, if we get hooked to the feel-good chemicals, we get addicted. Well, again, what feel-good chemicals are, again, one more time, that's when our senses find something that's favorable, and our brain says, do that again. It releases the feel-good chemical. But when our senses find something potentially dangerous, our brain releases feel-bad chemicals. So when our senses find something potentially dangerous, our brain releases feel-bad chemicals. And we'll talk about this more in a second. That's anxiety. Anxiety is our brain telling our body, I'm in danger. And there are chemicals that are released to tell me I'm in danger. So at its core, anxiety is our brain's alarm system to keep us alive. Anxiety is our brain's alarm system to keep us alive. It's a radar system. It's a danger radar. Anxiety is not danger. It's a signal that danger might be present. Anxiety itself is not danger. It is not dangerous. It's a signal. It's the radar going beep, 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 that danger might be present. That's all it is. I'm going to unpack that more in just a second, but this is very important to understand. At its core, anxiety is our brain's alarm system to keep us alive. It is not danger itself. It's a signal that danger might be present. That's all it is. So at its core, anxiety is all about survival. And we'll see here in a second how important that is. We need to feel anxiety because we want to survive. The second thing I'd say is, I'm going to unpack this in different stages with the brain and the body. That's physiological, brain and body. And then I'm going to talk about psychological, which is the mind. And so if you know about therapy in the back at all, you'll know this is true, that in general, there are two major fields of therapy work when it comes to human behavior, human thoughts, human feelings. One is to go the brain-body route, which is a physiological route, and that's the route of the psychiatrist. The psychiatrist is the one who gives prescription medication. The other route, a major field, is to go toward the mind or psychology, and that's what we call them psychologists. So psychologists go toward the mind and feelings. Psychiatrists can do that some, but theirs is more about brain and body, where the psychologist is more about mind. So I'm going to take these in two stages on purpose because they're different ways of looking at it. They're both helpful. And then when I get to relief, we'll talk about those two major stages as well. Okay, so anxiety is all about our brain saying you need to survive. So the first thing I'm going to go is the brain and body route. So when our senses trigger potential danger, our brain itself is under any stress. Like, for example, let's say your blood has reduced blood flow for whatever reason, a physiological problem, maybe you were in a car wreck. So if there's potential danger or your brain is under any stress itself physically, our brain releases feel-bad chemicals into our bloodstream. It's the warning sign went off. There might be danger. These feel-bad chemicals go into our bloodstream. Now, various hormones are released, like the thyroid hormone. There are things called neurotransmitters like serotonin and GABA. They're involved as well. But the main chemical involved in these feel-bad chemicals is called epinephrine. And that affects more your heart. And there's norepinephrine, which is more effect on the blood vessels. But they're very similar chemical DNA strands. So I'll just keep this short and simple and say epinephrine. When this chemical is released, your adrenal glands, which are on the top of your kidneys, they produce adrenaline for a rush of energy. And that causes your heart to beat faster. Why? Because you're getting ready to run or hurt or fight. But when your heart beats faster, it pumps more adrenaline in your body and more epinephrine in your body. Because of that, your body temperature rises. Your body's way of cooling down is to sweat. Sweat releases heat energy in your body. Because when the heat goes out in the water, the sweat, the liquid that you produce, and then the air temperature cools down that water, which then cools down the body. So sweating cools you down. Why does it need to cool you down? Because your body temperature is rising. Why is it rising? Because you have adrenaline and epinephrine flowing through your body, which your heart's beating faster. When your heart beats faster, like go to the gym, go on a jog, go up the stairs, your heart beats faster, your body temperature goes up. Then you're also going to have shallow breathing, because shallow breathing is the way to keep the heart beating faster. Whenever you're asleep, unless you're having a bad dream, most people, when they're calm and they're dreaming, sleeping, they don't have shallow breathing, because long, slow breathing is your brain's way of knowing you're safe and resting. Shallow breathing is what your brain says when it's time to get going, run, or fight. Another thing is you're going to have muscle tension. Your muscles will get tight because you're getting ready to either take a hit or you're getting ready to run hard. And there's other signs of distress. So when your brain says either my brain is literally in danger itself, my blood flow is going away, or I think there's danger, a chemical is released called epinephrine, and that releases the adrenaline, and the adrenaline shoots for energy, causes your heart to beat faster, your heart's going boom, 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 boom. You're going to start sweating because you get hot. You have shallow breathing, muscle tension, other signs of distress. This is what we call that fight or flight sensation. Now, the odds are, if you struggle with anxiety, talking about anxiety makes you anxious. So describing this right now, your heart rate is probably increased. Your body temperature might be higher. You might have, if you've noticed your chest probably feels tighter, you probably stop breathing slowly. I often tell people when I'm doing this in lectures, I'll say, now take a deep breath. Or if I'm counseling, I can see it in their face and they start holding their breath. That's because of adrenaline. Again, one more time, there's chemicals in the body. So, one more time, anxiety is our brain's way of notifying our mind of danger. So, it's a warning signal of threat. I'm what we call in philosophy mind-body dualist. That is, I think that we are a soul with the body, and I do not think that the brain is the mind. I think those are different things. They're related, but they're not the same. Much like my hand is not a glove. I put my hand in a glove, but they're not the same. But my hand uses the glove to catch the ball. My mind uses a brain to reason, to remember things, survive. But they're not the same thing. Not to me, they're not at all. So my view very much is that anxiety is our brain's way of telling us, our mind, our soul, you might be in danger. Anxiety is a warning signal of threat. We're about to die. Pay attention. Thus, this warning signal is necessary for survival. It's necessary. So I'm being real specific. That's what's going on. It's just, hey, look at there. It's my dogs and cats going, did you hear that? Did you hear that? What is that? It doesn't matter if the danger is real, or to use psychological, if it's rational. It doesn't matter if it's real. It doesn't matter if it's not real. It doesn't matter. I'm being emphatic on purpose so that your brain hears me when I start clapping, because you're going to think of danger. And that's why preachers do this. They're supposed to. I study how the brain works. That affects how I preach too. So you pay attention. Listen to me. It's working in it. The brain doesn't care if you're in danger really or not. It doesn't know the difference. That's why you get adrenaline if you watch a good movie and you're scared. That's why a roller coaster. You're not going to die. Well, you might, but you think you might. The whole time. I saw this video of a guy. I don't want to do it. I don't want to do it. I'm making. I guess I don't mean to make fun. It was funny. It was like a skit, but it was real. And he's sitting on the right, and his girl's on his left, and he's screaming, "I don't want to do this. It's all your fault." And they're going up and down the roller coaster. They have the video on, and he's screaming bloody murder. "I don't want to do this. I'm breaking up with you. I'm breaking up." He broke up with her on the ride. She's like, "Ah!" And I was like, he is scared to death. I wanted to counsel him, brother. You're not in danger. You just. Then they broke the ride up. Roller coasters, a good book. Make sure. Oh, that's a page turner. Is a book in danger? If you're reading about, it's just reading, but your adrenaline's going. I woke up in a bad dream. I do that often. I wake up, not often, but that happens to me. I wake up, can't breathe well, sweating, just because I call them stress dreams. And they're stressful. Things like, I'm not prepared. I got to preach in a second, and no one told me. I'm at a guest church, and they told me, and I don't have a lesson, and I'm preparing what to preach on my way there, but I can't find the entrance. And every door I try is locked. My heart's racing. Or there's a serial killer. That's a real threat, but your brain doesn't know the difference. It just doesn't. The chemicals are released that the brain perceives of. I'll say later on, or if you believe that there is, and that's key, if you believe there is a threat. Healthy people, here we go. You might want to highlight this. Healthy people, that's one of my favorite adjectives in the English language. Always pay attention to the anxious feelings, and they always check to learn if the danger or threat or harm is real. If the danger is not real, healthy people employ various techniques to teach the brain to desensitize that perception. Like, thanks for letting me know. No, we're not in danger. You can always retrain your brain to be less sensitive to various fears. That's why we call it desensitization. You do not want your brain to stop being sensitive altogether. Yeah, we do. No, you don't. Right now you're so anxious, your brain's going, yeah, you do. Yeah, I do. I can't stand this. I can't stand this. Trust me when I say, please trust me when I say, you do what you want, you're adult. Please trust me when I say, no, you don't. You don't want your brain to lose its capacity to be a danger radar. Healthy people do not seek incessant peace and calm. I hear that often in counseling. I'll say, what do you want from our time together? I just don't want to feel this way ever again. Oh, well, I'm going to fail you badly. I just want to feel calm. I don't know if you get that, Sarah. I want to feel peaceful. I just want to be happy. I can help. But if you think for a second you're going to live the rest of your life in this Zen state, you are setting yourself up for failure. And the reason why I tell them, the reason why I know that is because you're not a robot. And you have a brain and a nervous system that's going to keep working when you leave this office or not. So I'm going to teach you, instead of trying to be in a Zen state all the time, what if instead we learn techniques to desensitize how hypersensitive your brain is to anxiety? They go, I guess I'll take that. So healthy people don't seek incessant peace and calm. No, they don't. And when you do, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're going to cause more anxiety. Healthy people completely accept and welcome the sensations of anxiety. They allow the sensations and then rashly decide to act on the sensations or not. They say it with me. They completely accept that sentence. Say it with me. They completely accept. Please read it with me because it's going to help you learn. This is a pedagogical technique. It's help your brain learn the more you say it. They completely accept and welcome the sensations of anxiety. They completely accept it. They allow it. They fully allow it. Bring it on. I want more of it. I love it. Yes, sir. More, sir. Now, later on, I'll talk more about this, but some people like to picture anxiety like some little cartoon character. I picture my dog Bear, who's just kind of always he's I'm like, oh my goodness. But I'll talk much more about this when we get to the wounded child. You do not want that part of you to turn off. That's what makes it worse. The more your alarm system is ding, 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 you're going, no, 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 no. It's going to ding, 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 ding. Because you're teaching your brain to be afraid of whatever it is you're saying no to. The more you deny it, the more you're anxious you're getting. So the goal is, if this hits you hard, this will set you free. Thank you, Jesus. The truth sets people free. Stop trying to avoid anxiety. Stop trying to avoid anxiety. Feelings, even intense anxiety, cannot kill you.
They're chemicals. They're meant to wash through your body. So let them. You notice them, you pay attention to them, but you let them wash over you. I accept, I allow, I welcome. All my radar's going off. That's all it is. Yep, they're in my body. Yep, and they're going to wash out of my body. Yep, I feel anxious right now. Yep. Is there really danger? Am I in danger right now? Well, I don't think so. Okay, so it's just chemicals in my body. Yep. Oh, they'll pass through me. Thank you, brain, for helping me. Thank you for being so sensitive to that noise at the downstairs door in the middle of the night. Thank you for waking me up. But we're safe. I sent down Elaine, and she said we're fine. Whatever that noise is, I'm so glad. Thank you. That noise scared me, but we're safe. I'm so glad about that. When you and I become afraid of anxiety, which is what most people are, and I'll say this more over and over and over, you develop phobias. Most people are completely fine with anxiety. They are, but they're afraid of it. Well, I mean, it's like in reality they can deal with it, and they live with it all the time. But we can become fearful that we can't deal with it. Stop trying to avoid it. Stop trying to say, I just need to feel peace in my life. Well, yeah, sometimes, sure. But once I'm repeating myself, I'm going to move on. But if you can hear me, but if you leave this room today, or even right now in this moment, if you find yourself resonate with what I'm saying, that in general, I just wish I could feel calm all the time. What would it take? You know what? Those Christians, if I were really having faith, then I would feel, they're always smiling. There's something, they're lying. No one's happy all the time. Do you understand that? I don't think you do yet. Now, some of you don't get that. No one's happy all the time. You might encounter that person at work or at home, and that moment they're happy. No one's happy all the time. And I love how John Townsend, the therapist, says it. There are only two kinds of people who want to be happy all the time: children and addicts. It's true. And they're very similar. Because little baby children are addicted to feeling happy all the time. Because the number one complaint they have for any event is it was what? Boring. That's the top of their list. What is wrong with you? I didn't get high on that trip. That's all they care about. I used to tell my students when I was a teacher in high school, when they had the review, they had to do the reviews, interviews, but how good was your teacher? And I would say, yeah, I got to do it. Do you think, Dr. P, they call me Dr. P, do you think you ought to do this? No, not at all. You don't? No, I don't care at all what you think about this. You don't? I mean, I kind of do, but no, I don't. Why? Because you have no idea what you're talking about. You don't know anything. You're 14, you're 15, you're 16. You don't know anything. You think the measure of success of this class is whether you enjoyed it. I don't. I think the measure of success is whether I prepared you with good information that prepare you for reality. And you won't judge me. Most of you won't judge me on based on you knowing the material well, because you're too ignorant to know the difference. You don't know if the material's any good. What you care about is whether you had fun. Well, that was nice to you. I told them this kind of stuff. They go, I love them. They knew I loved them. But I would tell them, but I care about, sure, I understand the administration has to know whether or not I'm a weirdo and I'm not teaching you. I get it. But in general, because all you want to have fun all the time. And a lot of them go, yeah, that's true. If you leave this room still trying to be so peaceful and happy all the time because you think someone else could be that, or the preacher is, or my friend is, or my spouse is, I'm telling you, you have been duped. You've been duped. Anxiety is part of life, and it needs to be, or you will die very quickly. God designed us with an alarm system to help us survive. Don't tell God you know more than He does. He designed us to feel it. And so the fear that you feel of that feeling, just because it doesn't feel good, it feels uncomfortable, the feel-bad chemicals, well, instead of dismissing them, we'll talk in a second, instead of getting drunk and sexing it off and buying it off, we learn skill sets of how to get relief from it and deal with it properly. And I have a whole page and a half on relief. We'll talk about the homework. We will talk about it. Now I'm talking about what is anxiety. The first major point is the brain sending out chemicals when it thinks you're in danger, and those chemicals feel like danger. And then you get scared. But I'm here to tell you, anxiety won't kill you. Your brain's just trying to keep you alive, and that's a good thing. Thank you, brain. Our mind, I'm going to go ahead just because of time. Let's go. Is that all right? Our mind interprets this chemical reaction as an emotional feeling of fear, dread, or uneasiness. The older I've gotten, the more I like the word dread. I like a lot of words now the older I've gotten. I mean, certain words that really, and dread's one of them. That really articulates that word I often feel, dread. Dread. So my brain sends out this chemical, but my mind and my soul goes, that feels like blank. It feels like fear or dread or uneasiness. That feeling of threat, danger, it causes the mind to keep focusing on the danger as a little child. And that child is always melodramatic and unwise. So the brain says, ding, 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 I heard the noise. Look, instinctually, you're going to go, there's a siren. I see this all the time in churches all my life. Every time I do speaking, when I was a business consultant, no matter what happened, everybody's, they'll look over. There's a false alarm. Doesn't matter. But the mind decides whether to keep looking at it or not. I wonder what that was. Who was that? I wonder where they're going. Is my friend in the fire truck? Who did it? That's a decision of the mind to keep thinking about it. The brain sent out the signal, you did it, and the brain's like, next. Oh, them over there. No, look, people are moving. Keep looking. Smell. Am I surviving? The brain doesn't focus all the time. It's enough to get your attention. It's just the radar. But the mind chooses to keep focusing over and over and over, and that changes gears to a different thing called the mind. Almost all anxiety is based not on the current situation. And that's so, man, when this hit me, when I learned it's so true. It's not almost all of the anxiety you and I feel is not based on what's really happening right then and there, like there's a real threat and harm, but on either one of two major things. Most anxiety is caused on the past, that's rumination. Reliving what happened or what might have happened had we been harmed. I almost died. I almost died. What if I had died? That's rumination. That's a very common anxiety problem with people in my life and people's experiences in counseling. I mean, it's very common. They can't get past blank. Now, they might ruminate for various reasons, and I'm not going to go into all the reasons right now. Maybe sometime we can talk about if you want to. So rumination itself, this is not a sin. It's not, I don't think it's a sin or evil. I think it's unhealthy. I think it's your brain and your mind's way of reliving the danger over and over and over because you think it keeps you safe. I was hurt or almost hurt, so if I keep refocusing it over and over and over, I'll be more prepared for next time. And that's mostly false. Anyway, that's rumination. Some of y'all really struggle with reliving the past over and over and over. And I'm saying that's related to anxiety. The other option of anxiety is the future. That's worry. That's the worry. What we fear might happen. That might harm us. Like, what if I die? This reminds you a lot. They do studies often, all the time in psychological studies. Still at the top of the list, the most recent ones I've read, maybe Sarah might give me some more updates, but still at the top of the list, so often of the most things that scare you is public speaking. It tends to be at the top of the most, more than dying, more than like drowning. Oh, I drown, man. I'm not going talking. Let's test that theory right now. Zane, you want to come up here and say something? Nope, see theory. I'm trying. Jen? No, he just gives me a grin. I think about this often when people do public speaking. In church life, it's fun through the years at different church people. Why don't you have more people on stage? Would you like to come do it? No, I mean, but other people. That's why. Because almost everyone I ask is, no. Why? No. It took me years to get branded on stage one time. Not years. I've only been that long. I had a buddy named Jeff who's real introverted. Same thing. I'll get him up. Some of them don't want to pray in public. They don't want to talk because of anxiety. Now think about that for a second. That kind of fear of worry, what if? And that's another thing called social anxiety disorders is the what if I get embarrassed? What if they laugh at me? What if I start sweating profusely? What if I don't say the right word? What if? All those what ifs are still at their core related to danger. It's the brain's way of saying, am I really in danger? So let me ask the question that seems quite obvious. You know this when you're thinking straight, not based on the inner wounded child that's scared all the time. Are you in danger because you stand on a piece of wood and talk in front of other people? With no jokes aside, seriously, are you in danger? Are you more in danger? Am I more in danger on the stage than you in reality? Yes or no? That's right. The answer is no. No. You feel like you are. That's right. You feel. But that's right. Like everybody's staring at me. But that's the key, though, right? So the point is, am I really? So if a bear came up the stairwell, we're all in equal danger. I mean, I might see it first or run, but right now in reality, probability, I'm not more in danger than you. I'm just standing on top of a stage. Like, now think of a bear. Thanks a lot. But I'm not. And you're not either. But that's the kind of stuff that we'll talk a lot about later on. Our mind believes, and the worry is that the future, what if I die? What if? And there are ways to address that fear, that relief part, which we will talk about relief. There are things you can say to yourself and do to yourself that'll help that calm. Healthy people do not ruminate. Healthy people do not worry. Healthy people do not ruminate. They don't read the chud over the sheep eat that over and over and over to the cud over and over, and they don't worry either. There was this huge gorilla at a zoo several years ago we were looking at, and he had this big old grass thing. He ate a big old green ball, and he ate it. He would chew and chew and chew and chew and chew and chew, and he'd swallow the whole thing, and he'd kind of sit around. Then he'd start rolling around on his belly. He'd roll on his belly, roll on his belly, and he'd puke it up. He'd look at it, start eating it, eating it. He'd sit there about 5 minutes. He'd start rolling on his belly, puke it up. He'd look at it, start eating again. Over and over. It's just a big old ball of grass. And really, by that time, it's a clean old, like a bowling ball. You eat it. I thought, how about that? That's rumination. I just want to retread it over and over again. Healthy people have processed whatever that wound is, whatever the issue is. They don't do that. Healthy people don't worry either because they're not driven by fear. And when we've been traumatized, now trauma, most therapists will tell you, a trauma occurs when you have feelings of intense anxiety and you're in a state of helplessness. These two things go together. You feel like you're going to die, you might die, and you can't do anything about it. It's like when someone's about to hit you and you're like, and you just can't do anything about it. That can happen one time. A severe trauma, you can develop post-traumatic stress disorder. It takes one big time to be traumatized in a state of helplessness, a bad car wreck. And now you're scared to get in the car the rest of your life. You don't have to be, but people can do that. Or one time that person dated a person, they did this. Or it can happen on subtle times for a long period of time. We call that complex trauma or complex post-traumatic stress disorder. I suffer from complex trauma. So I know firsthand what this is. So when you suffer from trauma, no matter if there was real danger, it doesn't matter if there was really a bear or not. We become not scared of a possible future event. This is so key. If you can outline anything, I hope we highlight all of this. You're not scared of that event. You're scared of the uncomfortable feelings of anxiety that might occur if that event might happen. You're not as scared of the event. You're scared of how you're going to feel if the event happens. And this, I can test this easily. We do it in therapy all the time. It is a fantastic what-if game. This helps you get what we call the child state to the adult state. We go, all right, we'll say that happens. What happened? What happened? What's the worst case scenario? So you play the what if game. I do this all the time with therapy people. And my own self. I did my own therapy, my own journaling. Okay, what are you afraid of? I can't talk to him about that. Let's assume you have to talk to your husband about something that he's doing that really, really hurts you. I can't talk to him. Why not? What would happen? I don't know. Let's imagine for a second. What would happen? Oh, I guess, would he stab you? No. Good. Would he shoot you? No. Would he throw something at you? No, he would never do that. Okay. Would he scream at you uncontrollably? Maybe. I don't think. Would he cuss you out? Maybe. What would he do then? Will he roll his eyes? Would he raise his voice some? Yeah. Okay. So does rolling eyes hurt you? Does raising his voice harm you? Does saying some cuss words? Are you in danger? Well, I'm saying literally, are you? No? So let's imagine for a second he did start cussing and screaming and rolling his eyes, or he picked up a knife. Could you do anything at all to defend yourself? Well, yeah. What could you do? I would leave. You could leave? Like you get out of your own feet and walk out of the room? Yep. What if you got to your car? I guess I'd start walking, or I'd grab a car and leave. So you could leave danger if you were in it. Yep. So it sounds to me you're not afraid of what could happen because you just told me exactly what you would do if you were in danger. So what are you afraid of? There's always a long pause. And usually they'll add this nice, sweet thing people say about, I know, I guess I'm just stupid. No, that doesn't help you either. I know I'm all screwed up. No, that's not true either. You're not afraid of the event if you start thinking about what you would do. You're afraid of the anxiety that comes along with the event. And that's how you test it. I'm going to finish on this, we become anxious of anxiety. We become anxious of anxiety. We become afraid of the feelings of fear. But I'm telling you, there's no reason to be afraid of feelings. There's no reason to be afraid of feelings. I'm going to come back and start there next week. Yeah. Good. So when you feel anxious the other day, you tell yourself, I can make it to past supper. After supper, I'll be out tomorrow. The sun's going to come up, as it were, where the world's going to keep spinning. That's right. That's good. And what you're doing there is, we'll talk about at the end of the study, that's classic cognitive behavioral therapy. You're telling yourself, you're challenging those false beliefs that I might be in danger. That's a false belief. You're replacing with a true belief to say, no, I can handle it. If that happens, you're doing the what if game. Well, what if? What if I lose my job? Well, let's think about that for a second. What would happen? Well, I wouldn't have income. Is it possible to find another job anywhere in the world? Well, yeah. So you might be able to find another job? Yeah. Could you get some help? Probably. You just kind of the what if game. And it really does help anxiety because you're telling your brain, it's very good, man. So the sun's going up tomorrow? That's appropriate. Instead of, oh no, I can't go there. I can't even go there. That's what people do. I can't even go there. You just told your brain you should be scared to death. I'm walking past a cave. What if there's a bear? Don't go there. Don't. Oh, that hole in that stone is danger. High five me. I was right on that one. But there is no danger on the road. Most people are not really in danger. It's the brain telling you. So very good. Very good. Well, enough anxiety this morning. Take a deep breath. I can hear some of you holding your breath because you're so excited about today's service. I know. Seriously, though, I want to practice this the end of every time because I know, and let me say this real quickly. I am fully aware. Please hear me well. I am fully aware. In fact, I know for a fact some of you in this room have been traumatized. I am fully aware that some of you that I don't even know have been traumatized. And talking about these issues, talking about anxiety, what we call re-triggers you. It makes your heart race. It can bring up a lot of trauma and relive it. I am so overwhelmingly sensitive to that, and I'm very sorry for you. There is hope and help for you. You do not need to spend the rest of your life in the prison of anxiety or trauma because of what you've been through. You don't need to. If you want to, go for it. I wouldn't. I mean that. Do something about it. You can talk to me, talk to Sarah, talk to the therapist. There's help to be had. Amen, sister? She said, amen. She just nodded it. There's help to be had. No matter what you've been through, I'm telling you, you can get healing. God can heal you from that. So when I bring these things up, I'm well aware it can surface things. So I do encourage you at the end of these studies, take a deep breath. Remind yourself, we're safe. We're safe. We are safe right now. All right? Can I say a prayer for us as we wrap up? We thank you, Lord Jesus, for being a calming presence in our lives. God, you know that I often think about you, Jesus on the storms. I can imagine the anxiety the disciples felt. I can't imagine it. I can actually. Them scared to death they might die. And you taking a nap. What an image for me. Please, Lord Jesus, help us all learn how to process this phenomenally good radar system that you put inside of all of us to help us survive. But help us learn the skill sets, the tools to deal with it correctly in a healthy way, that we might love you and our neighbor as ourselves better. Holy Spirit, I know there are people listening, watching, and those in this room who have suffered from various traumas. Please give them the courage to reach out to get the help that is available so they don't spend the rest of their lives in a terrible wounded state. We love you. We thank you for your constant grace and healing and wholeness and love. Thank you, thank you. In the name of Jesus, we pray. God's people said, amen.